Yeah. If I die tomorrow, I hope you hear these words. I ain't here to flip no birds or sip no serve. Hope the future generations can get this urge. Stay woke, youngin', and avenge these nerds.
When you hear that song, you know what time it is. It is Tuesday night, 9 p.m.
Right.
Nerds of the Round. We are back for the WandaVision finale. You guys excited?
Yeah.
Yes,
Always.
indeed.
Always.
I'm sure after this finale, we have all been contemplating the ship of Theseus. So
So I want to jump into this episode, but give me 1 second. I want to jump into this episode pretty much, but I want to make some announcements. So pretty much, so last week, if you guys missed some careers, because we're not going to have one early this week, we had two great ones before. Last week we talked to Casey Bulker about Hollowed and freelancer Christian Alish. Both episodes are out for last week. We also had a great live episode, so we got you guys with a three episodes last week. So go check those out.
Three or four?
Three. We hit three. We hit three. We almost hit four, but you got a new episode that's out. So that was also shared to the nerds. So make sure you guys check that out.
Geek Ronin, Shit You See in NYC, episode 3, featuring Croc from the Block, and a very funny. It's the highest viewed video we got up there. So go check it out.
Yeah. Now, next Tuesday is going to be a pretty dope episode. Next Tuesday, we're going to talk to Christopher Carter, CEO of Global Comics. Next Tuesday, get to learn more about that platform and everything. So if you guys are interested in learning more about Global Comics, next Tuesday, 9 p.m., we'll be talking to Christopher Carter. Next Wednesday, we are going live for St. Patty's Day. Joining us will be Jared Brown and Sam Vera, Sam from Catch the Craze. So next Wednesday, we will be live for St. Patty's Day. So we want to welcome everyone to come through and talk to us for St. Patty's Day. It's going to be a madhouse. We're going to have some fun. The following Tuesday, we're going to air a little bit later because that first half of that Tuesday, that Tuesday night, we're going to be guests on the Hashira podcast. They were with us last Wednesday. We're going to now invade their podcast next Wednesday. So we're going to, next, that following Tuesday. So we're going to have some fun. But we are going to go live after that guest spot to talk about Justice League. So we will be talking about Justice League that day. You can see it on Tone's face. He is excited.
Hey, some of you got lucky and watched the first hour because you wanted to watch Tom and Jerry. So,
So pretty much, yes.
I don't know what I would rather watch at this point because they both look terrible.
So without further ado, I want to bring our guests who are patiently waiting in the background, ready to talk WandaVision with us. The first is an awesome creator. She is one half of an awesome team that has brought together a comic called Bad Luck. You can see it at mbeyond.com. They've been doing some great work with it, writing, and she is also the artist behind it. I want to bring in Alethea Van Holland. Alethea, what is up?
Hi everyone. How are you all?
Good. Welcome back. Good to have you back.
Thank you so much for having me.
Well, we want to welcome you to the show. Thank you for coming back on. And guys, we have a creator series featuring Alethea and Jack, pretty much. And what's up, Matt?
Hey, what's going on, brother?
So we have a great creator series with Alethea, which is in our library. Go back and check it out. But next, we want to bring on the list. He is our buddy from the Comics Cast crew. We call him, he is a unofficial nerd, but he's an official nerd. Let's just be honest. This guy is awesome. He's always engaging people in the comments. They're always talking to some great people at Comics Cast. And he asked to be here for you guys because he wants to talk WandaVision, the final season finale. Give it up for Jerel Motos. Jerel, what is up?
What's up?
Welcome, sir. He is so hyped and excited. I love it.
Yeah. I'm still jamming out to your opening theme because, that's just chill. I just feel chill, when I like
100%.
That's the vibe. That's the vibe we have when we come on the show. That's it.
Are we chill though? I don't think we're chill. I think we get a little hype and excited.
A little reckless, but it's all good.
It's the chill before the hotness, right?
Hey,
what up to our buddy Jordan over at SoCom. Definitely, guys, go check out Real Reviews. Please follow that channel. Give them some love. They covered some great stuff, and it's not a, Jerel the show, so it's not a show without Joe in the comments giving us some support. What is up, Joe? Love you, brother. So, anyway, what is up, Revelator? So we want to get into this episode for WandaVision. So I want to ask you guys, seeing that some of the theories, some people were disappointed that some of the theories didn't pan out. How did you guys feel about that, Jerel? Well, Alethea, it's been a while since we've had you on. How did you feel about that? That some of the theories didn't pan out.
Well, how about we start out with you post some theories and then we'll shoot them down as we go.
Well, let's go with the Quicksilver theory. Let's go with that.
I think it had to do with licensing. They had some likenesses. I didn't really mind it because Pietro isn't called Pietro Vision. It's Wandavision. So I actually kind of like that little twist to me. That was a little. His name was actually kind of surprising when I had his little model shot. I don't know if I need to repeat that on here because I know I'll mispronounce it and it'll just come out wrong. So, but I didn't mind it. I think he added a nice dimension to it, and it was a nice nod to the Fox X-Men side.
They gave us a tease and a dick joke.
Yeah,
They did.
there you go. And so I'm okay with it because I don't think his character is gonna go. When they do bring in the X-Men into the MCU, that was just like the last hurrah. And I think that was just a nice plug to the Fox crew. So
Alethea?
So I'm gonna sound like a total noob here. I don't really keep up a whole lot with the MCU or anything like that, so I didn't know anything about the theories. I went into the show completely blind, not knowing anything.
Whoa, you're
Perfect. Perfect.
That's the way to go in.
So I only know a few people who've gone like that route, and I'm so more invested in your opinion on the show now.
Yes. Yes.
Like my knowledge of MCU, DC, all that stuff is very limited. My specialty is like an anime and manga and everything.
Nice.
So like this, I don't know. So obviously I don't know about the theories, but me as just a casual viewer, as just just a blind person watching, I didn't know how I felt about his sudden appearance. but I was okay with it. Like it was just like I was hoping they wouldn't show him, but that was just my own personal opinion. But as soon as he was in it, I was like, okay, this is fine. I like it.
Okay.
So we got a question from Matt. He's like, any idea when they might go full blown bringing X-Men into the MCU? They've already announced this.
They announced it, but we don't know when they're going to do it. So
at least 2 years because they got to cast everybody still, and the pandemic and the theaters and the studio.
Yeah, I don't know that they have to cast
they just have to announce it, like they did with Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
They did the logo, and Feige was like, "We're getting the first family." And is D23 this year?
I think it is, but I think over that call there was a call that Disney did, and there were some titles from Marvel that were unnamed.
Yeah, there was the
and I think they were testing the waters with Wandavision.
I'm here for them. Just even if they name drop an X-Men, and they literally just say this person or give a picture or description. That's all we need until we get them proper. And I thought that's what we would be getting in this. We may get it in Multiverse of Mass, because at this point there's very few windows left unless they have something else up their sleeve, which is entirely possible, but we'll have to wait and see.
They have it up their sleeve. I think we'll see we'll see Rogue, I think, first. We'll see that
Tone's still going with the Eternals.
I'm still going with the Eternals just based on what chronologically the movies as they should have been released. I think Eternals would have been the way to I think whoever's been listening has heard me say this a million times, and I am sorry, but listen, I lost it. I lost my the thing with Mephisto showing up, but I will stick hold and stay on true that Eternals.
I think we all
will be there. Yes, it's true. We all did it. It's like the Captain America meme. So you had a WandaVision theory that didn't pan out. I think we were all there.
I think we're going to get Rogue probably introduced in Captain Marvel, only for the simple fact that Rogue got her powers from Captain Marvel in the comics. And I feel that what we're going to see is that we're going to get that slow burn, just like how Marvel in the first phase introduced Hawkeye, introduced Black Widow, introduced all these other characters within bigger stories. And if you look how we got Monica Rambeau introduced.
Say that.
Monica, don't. I can't say the last name. Stop it.
Rambo.
Rainbow. There you go. There you go. Thank you, Jerel. Good points.
First blood.
500 points for Jerel. Kamikaze. Let's go.
You drew
We got a
first
Gryffindor
blood.
indeed coming up. No, so
I tried. I tried so hard.
Wait, we got Joe. The only real issue with me was that when it came to her saying goodbye to her family, she had no real issue with her children. It was good character story for that was for just for her. Yeah, I mean it was one of the saddest moments too. And I mean with Wanda, I really think that this show, and I want to ask everyone what was their saddest moments this season that they felt. But I think it was really sad, like, you know. Yeah, they didn't. She was having to say goodbye to these children, but it was mostly it hit home with the vision that she had to say goodbye to him second time. Jerel, what were your saddest moments in this season?
It was that line. One of the lines that really stuck out to me. It was, "What is love? Baby, don't hurt me." No, just kidding. What is love? It's love. I mean, grief. What is grief? And it's love persevering. And I was like, oh gosh, I don't know who wrote that line, and maybe it's a quote from somewhere else, but it
hits different.
Yeah, Vision was, we were joking around a little bit about the Theseus thing. I was like, there was whoever wrote the screenplay. Kudos to them. This show should get awards. I mean, it had, those first few episodes, which most people hated on. Just to me, it was like, it was a nice homage, nice plug to like, sitcoms and comedy shows of yesteryear, things that we grew up with watching on like WTBS and I was just like, I loved it. I ate it all up. And then it was that slow burn. And then it got into the whole story. And then it got like philosophical. I mean, you started delving into like when, those later episodes where it actually showed Wanda and Vision and their relationship, showing how that built, because you got hints of it, throughout the movie, the movies in the MCU, but all of a sudden it was filling in all the blanks. And so, that, the love conquers all type thing. And I have to say that I got teary. My eyes got, they weren't dry. I got kind of a little weepy there. But that just goes to show MCU, they know what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. And I want before we get off the air, I want to address later. Remember that the multiverse, they can go any way they want. They can start so many different stories and bring back so many characters because of the multiverse. And also, too, don't forget What If is coming out, which is going to let Marvel play with storylines. But Alethea, what was the saddest moment for you? And Rich, we're gonna put you in the corner because no, Scrooge McDuck would not buy the MCU. So go, you're on timeout. Rich.
He has the money for it.
He has the money, but Rich is on timeout.
The richest, fictitious person.
And yes, she did kind of say goodbye to him a third time because Thanos killed him twice. So yeah, Alethea, what was the saddest moment for you this season in WandaVision? Because again, the show for a lot of us was like in the turn Wanda was dealing with grief, but what was the saddest moment for you?
Yeah, I think I have to agree with Jerel and Sean Washington that it was Sean Washington that saying goodbye to Vision because with the kids it was like I was expecting to say goodbye to the kids as soon as she let go of her reality. I was expecting it, so I didn't get super attached to them. But with Vision, I could understand where she was coming from with what they explained in the show, and to get through that with context and stuff. So yeah, I definitely did actually tear up with that part.
I feel you.
Yeah.
And so your fan here, David, says, "Don't worry, he's going to bed."
Good.
And Sean, the first 2 episodes were genius, especially when it was shown how Wanda loves sitcoms. Yes, that was ingenious.
Yeah,
I love how they incorporated that story. But Tone, what were some of the saddest moments for you guys?
Well, for me, I mean, I think it's the gambit's around the table. It's her saying goodbye to Vision, just because that love, that connection between the two of them has been there since Ultron, when he saved her at the end of the movie. And they've just been building up this relationship and seeing their lives living out in Infinity War before he gets, the one jump scare in the MCU that kind of caught me when he gets stabbed in the back. But yeah, that's the core of this story is their relationship. And seeing him go again for the upteenth time and the way he disappeared and her just holding him, but it felt better in this situation because she got to say goodbye they were embracing each other. They knew it was happening. She knew that the love was there, and she got to say goodbye. She wasn't able to say goodbye in a properly way just because of the thing that happened with Thanos and seeing his body in the shield base. She just didn't get that. And the thing with the kids, I agree with you, Alethea. The kids were there. We knew they were going to be there, and it's a cool add-on, but she knew that she made them in this space. And I think she let go of the kids up until she hears them in the second stinger. But I think she let go of the fact that these kids were just a figment of the hex versus Vision was an actual person in her life and a whole part of her. So I think it felt right that she put the kids to bed and said goodnight and did a whole thing, but then had her and Vision had their final moments together. So, but I would say that whole scene, I would say, would be the saddest, just because their relationship, the chemistry between Paul Bettany and Elizabeth Olsen, like this whole show does not work without that, and they're fantastic together.
I was today years old. I was WandaVision year old when I found out that Elizabeth Olsen was an Olsen twin. I couldn't put it
Are you serious?
I'm an idiot for that. Yes, I am.
What was it? The John Stamos picture? Is that what did it?
No. It was the picture with all three of them together. I was like, I should have connected it. That was just no.
Wow.
And I think Rich is right that it was Scrooge McDuck would put a low ball offer. Below, what was the saddest for you in the season?
Everyone's been saying, the last moment with Vision, but I'm gonna go a little against the grain. I would still agree that the Vision moment was a tough one, but it's when Vision starts to realize in the Halloween episode that like everyone in the town is being controlled by Wanda, and he starts to see like people crying and say, help me. And like, he starts to try to get out of the house, and he's like, these people need help. Like, we need to get them out. Mm-hmm. For me, that was like really sad, because like he was willing to like sacrifice himself, whatever version of himself that he can kind of like start putting the pieces together with, just to be like, like help them. Like, I know my wife is going through some wild shit right now, but like, he's seeing like all these people who are trapped because of what Wanda's going through. And, for me to watch him like process that, because again, he's coming to a lot of terms in like this show. Like, you're seeing him realize what Wanda has done and is doing for him, for her, for their life together, or what should have been their life together. And him now realizing this has been like a really painful eye opener for him. So it was something to watch when that happened.
I'm gonna flip that on you there, Law, in terms of what you said. What if Vision is actually, it's a part of Wanda? So like, that's Wanda's consciousness and Vision all together. So like, so like she genuinely regrets it, but also I think Vision is an expression of not only her memory and love for him, but it's actually, some of her goodness as well. So I think
the part of her that wanted to do right by the world.
Yeah, but I totally feel you. I know what you're talking about. That was a sad moment, because it's kind of like when you have that epiphany, that realization that something isn't what you always thought it would be, and it's a combination of sorrow, disappointment, and and what do you do? What's your action after that? Yeah. But I'm gonna have to say that I'm gonna like reference nerd again. No one ever really dies, and I'm just gonna say that right here. When you watch that stinger, I think Tone was talking about that stinger at the end. That you hear the kids, and so maybe they aren't quite gone. They may exist in another reality, that multiverse thing. And I think that was actually gonna like foreshadow what's gonna talk about the Wiccan and the other characters that were the new Avengers that we talked in the comic book. It's gonna like, I think they're gonna tread that ground. I think that's gonna be something that they're gonna explore.
For sure.
And the thing that got me though is like the two Wandas. I mean,
we're gonna get into that. We're gonna get into that because we're gonna talk about that. We are going to get into that. But I want to touch up on Joe said, I guess this time it's just me, but to me, Vision downloaded his mind while unlocking White Vision, and she is getting her kids back. So really, this isn't a loss. Will all be tied up in a bow. So yeah, I agree, because it's like the interactions between the two Visions because again, we now have White Vision in play, which was again in the comics, West Coast Division, and again, anybody who knows the story between Wiccan and Speed, the twins, is that they eventually do come back into the Marvel universe. It has to do with Mephisto, and we do know Mephisto is rumored to be in Loki, and Sean Washington. It was as emotional as Spider-Man disappearing out of Iron Man's grasp, yes, and it pulled at the heartstrings. But I mean, I don't want to get into the
we also, not to cut you off, Seabass, but we also with Wanda's line, she said, "You're the part of the Mind Stone that like help like lives in me," and with I think with Vision imparting his like part of his brain to White Vision, that piece or that fragment of what would be the Mind Stone is still alive in that Vision.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, but to quick note, I think the one thing, that's kind of a bummer here for Wanda was that while, her vision unlocked White Vision, right? Like he pretty much what he did to Ultron, like that same sort of thing, open his eyes and you see his eyes and everything. But it feels like that moment in time that Wanda had with Vision living in Westview doesn't seem like that translated over. All the images we saw was everything up until his head got out of the Mind Stone was ripped out of his head. So like that experience she had is just with her alone. So even if she does have that connection with the other Vision, that won't be there. Those memories won't be with him. And then she's going to have to start from like that point with him, which I think,
Wow.
So,
yeah.
I mean, I could be wrong, but I think just based off the flashbacks we saw.
That tracks.
You're right. It's like Oblivion with Jack. I'm not going to spoil anybody who hasn't watched. Well, I am going to spoil it. You guys should have watched Oblivion, but
it said spoilers. Come on.
Yeah, I'm just going to.
Did Tone do a spoiler warning? By the way,
we didn't,
but we just jumped into it.
Yeah.
Too late.
Too
The
late.
multiverse was first introduced on Doctor Who, then later in Justice League, and then they went into the Flash series before coming fully to Marvel. I think the multiverse was in all universes playing around because Marvel played with the multiverse with What If, and we're going to see a lot of great stuff. Like Revelator, keep an eye out for the What If show because Marvel has gotten a lot of their great storylines from playing around with What If. Marvel and DC played with it, and yeah, Doctor Who introduced that concept too, which I'm glad we brought up that Doctor Who reference. But I want to jump into this really quickly because again, a lot of people were disappointed that we didn't really see a big bad in the show because a lot of people were expecting Mephisto. But then there were also the fan theories of the High Evolutionary, Nightmare, and Mojo. How did you guys feel that there really wasn't a villain in the middle of the series?
Didn't we say like a couple episodes back, like Wanda is the villain technically?
We did. We're gonna get into that because a lot of people were in on that. But Alethea, how did you feel about the concept that really there was really no villain in this show?
Well, I guess I don't know if she would be considered like a villain, but like wasn't Agnes again, this is just me as a casual viewer. I don't know. I don't have nearly the extensive knowledge that you guys have. So like wasn't she technically like the antagonist in this or like an obstacle?
I would say antagonist, yeah. More so than villain. But yeah, like I would say that's exactly it, Althea.
Yeah. So like I'm fine with like, media not having any villains. I think that actually makes it more interesting. What I felt with Agnes, with the direction they went with her, because it seemed like they were going with like a comic book like style like villain with her. But I was hoping that it would have been more like psychological, that Agnes is actually innocent. She actually is one of the civilians, and Wanda is using her as like an outlet as like a scapegoat, or as like a process to deal with her grief and trauma. But I don't think that's what they were going for at the end when she locked her in that town.
Well, I mean, in the comics, Agatha does end up teaching Wanda about her powers and how to use them. Which I think that's why we did it the way how it ended between her and Agatha, that she just locked her into Westview. I think we're going to see more Agatha. They're not done with her yet. Jerel, how did you feel that we didn't get Nightmare or anything like that, and there was really no villains in the show? So I know people are going Mojo. I was like, Mojo's not coming yet. But
No. I think it would have been clever because the whole sitcom tie-in and the whole thing, but I don't think there's ever been a Mojo with a Scarlet Witch angle. So to me, I don't. That's more. Save that for the X-Men. Save that for Longshot. I want Longshot I've always been an Art Adams fan, so I'm waiting for the X-Men and Longshot to come out. But in terms of there not being a villain or like a defined villain, I think that having a antagonist that was more of her match would have distracted from the whole WandaVision dynamic, because you really want to like be able to see how Wanda develops and how Wanda's whole warped sense of reality. She's the hero and the villain in the story, and I think that's enough. I mean, you actually even have that director from Sword, who I forgot what his name is.
Hayward.
Yeah. So I think there were some other names that people had come up for him during the show, but
wait, ask a-hole. That was his name.
Exactly.
Listen, he could have been set up to be like the we were saying the Senator Kelly, but he ended up not being. But still, like he was at best, he was probably the truest villain that we can see.
Yeah.
And look, see, this is why Comics Cast, you guys need to tune in. These guys are always in sync. So you see reality shows. Wanda is the villain. It's a good way of forcing the audience to judge her choices and think about that. What they would. It's she and technically she was the villain in the show because it showcased her madness and everything. And I feel like there wasn't a big bad outside of Agnes because the series wasn't up. And yes, Marvel did say it was going to be a setup for Doctor Strange, but yeah, I mean, we're now in that territory. We're gonna thank Joe. I mean, Wanda, like to me, they captured Wanda perfectly. They showed that she had layers, like they did in the comics. Yeah. This woman, she is a powerful. She is, I would dare say, one of the alpha heroes in the comics because of how powerful she is. Which we're going to get into that because I want to get your guys' thoughts. She pretty much is a broken character because she's suffered so much grief in her life. And throughout the films, when you look at Legends, the quick shorts that Marvel did, they already showcase the grief that she's going through when she lost her brother. She lost her family. We saw how she lost her family. She lost Vision. And then having to go through that stage. And then it's like she just lost it when she stood in the middle of that plot. And it's like she wasn't trying to be evil. It's just she just lost it. She lost control.
This is the first time we've gotten to really see outside of like maybe Captain America, and even to some degree we saw it with I would say Iron Man, Thor, and Hawkeye. Like really seeing like those stages of like character growth, development, seeing them at their lowest points, having to deal with grief and trying to really come to terms with a lot of that stuff. And her story has been like amazing because her grief isn't self-contained and isolated. Her grief has like manifested and it affects so many people. So like on the one hand, we feel bad for her because we realize like that's real fucked up, but we feel like, yo, Wanda, like you gotta let these people go. Like they have nothing to do with what you're going through.
Yeah. I mean, it's I think what's really interesting about Wanda and some of the other characters that go through their sorts of grief is that I feel like a lot of the other Marvel in the MCU, they have other folks to keep them down. Like not to keep them down, but to bind them, keep them grounded, right? Wanda feels like she didn't have that. She had her family, she loses her family. She had her brother, but between her and her brother, they did the experiments. Then she lost and then her brother dies. She had Vision for a bit. Then in Civil War, when they do the mission in Lagos and she kills all those people because of what happened with Crossbones, like she's going through so many levels and doesn't have that one person to ground her because she keeps losing that person over and over and over, where all the other MCU characters, their person's there. Like Captain America, it was Bucky and he got his boy back. Right. Like, so like it's interesting to finally see her deal with it, and just it all comes to terms when she goes into that lot for the house. And it's just like she couldn't contain it anymore. Like she saw Vision's body and was okay with leaving him there, went to the lot, and it was just whether, people thought it was planted or if it was Vision because he loved her or whatever. But she went to it and it just was too much. And we get this manifestation of grief within that is Westview and within the Hex, and I think we really got to see that, and it's that point. She's the villain and the hero, but also Agatha was an antagonist and a teacher at the same time, and I think it did work. As much as we wanted these bigger characters to show up, we wanted like that real direct bad guy tie to the Doctor Strange movie, I think, but we didn't get it. We got this tie with she's the Scarlet Witch, and she is like she's learning shit. She's astral projecting. Like there's a whole like that's way more fun now. Like after seeing it, it's way more fun to see what's going to happen in Doctor Strange 2.
Okay, we're gonna get.
I also think that like what Monica said to her at the end, where she was like, "I would have done the same." Like these people don't know what you would do, and then Monica said, "I would have probably did the same thing." Like that empathy was like so like refreshing because honestly, I don't know a lot of us that would like in that position. You just losing, and you have so much loss. Like you just need that one burst of just like and that's what happened.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to touch up on some comments real quick. So I know how Wanda suffered 0 repercussions for destroying the very livelihood of the people of Westview. Sexuality that won't come back from what happened, but Virgin died. So, but I gotta say, Chaz, like this may breed new characters, new villains, because I don't think she's gonna, with the way how they do it, I don't think there's gonna be any non-repercussions because we've seen it play out in Marvel stories where some of their actions have played out repercussions. Like look at the Sokovia Accords. And all of Wanda's losses have been due to death.
Thanos is the perfect example of like repercussions.
Yeah. All of Wanda's losses have been due to the death. Her grief had manifested in the way to brighten up her life. She is alone, unfortunately. She is. And I want to jump into this because at the end, because Tony opened this door with her astral projecting. I want to get everyone's feelings on that. I mean, we see not Doctor Strange astral project where he's sleeping. But Wanda's up, sipping tea, and while at the same time she's astral projecting, reading books. Jerel, I want you to jump deep dive into this for us. Get this started. Get this party going with this one.
You know, I actually didn't draw the parallel to the astral projection until Tone mentioned it, and I go, oh. I was like, poof. But here's a thought I want to like pose. Wanda is freaking, she's doing the Anakin Skywalker story. I mean, tragedy, loss, and she'd be a terrible Jedi.
Yes, she give into the dark side.
She won't be able to let go. And I for one am just completely thrilled about how, they've really set this up, for why it's going to be called like what is it? It's going to be something into madness. The
Multiverse of Madness.
Multiverse of Madness, and they're perfectly setting this up because they've already established the mental state of Wanda here. So to me, it's brilliant, and this is just the brilliance of MCU storytelling is that it's the slow burn, it's the plugging of little things, little details, and that's what I loved about the series. This WandaVision series is that you mentioned the Sokovia Accords, you mentioned Tone mentioned like all the Vision imprint thing where it's only the memories up to this certain point type thing. I'm just eating it up, every little bit of it. I'm just amazed that they can have so many directors, so many different writers, and still have Kevin Feige must have like a million like eyes that he can keep and fingers that he can keep everything like all contained and cohesive. Because like even the weakest movies in the MCU have meaning, have gravitas on the overall picture of it. So I actually lost track. What did you ask, Sebastian?
The astral form. Like how powerful do you think
astral projection?
Astral projection. Yes, very cool. Tone called it. That is awesome. I'm going to say that. So that's my thought.
Can we just say how awesome it is when Jerel nerds out? Alethea, how did you feel when you saw this going on when she's just astral projecting and like sipping tea at the same time walking, where we have seen Doctor Strange just sleeping while astral projecting? Like, how do you feel with the parallels? Do you think that she is going to be more powerful than Doctor Strange?
Okay, so I want to preface this. This was not my fault. I don't know what happened. I watched it on Disney Plus, as I'm sure everyone else did, because that's where it's at. But I did not see the stinger. I even stayed after the credits, everything. Like, there was no stinger on mine. So I didn't see this.
No way!
No!
Yeah. I actually started freaking out when you guys talked about the stinger. I was like, I didn't see this! What are they talking about?
Okay.
No!
But
yeah, I'm so sorry. We just like totally spoiled it for her.
No, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's okay. I'm still interested, even if I do hear spoilers.
So essentially, like you see her, like they do like a long shot, and they like zoom into her in front of a cabin, sipping tea, and whatever the case is, and another pot goes on, and then it zooms into the room where she's staying, and into another door.
Oh, did Alethea you miss it?
Yeah. So essentially, she's making tea. Her physical self is making tea while her astral body is there with the book, just sitting there sifting through, and she's hearing the voices of her children, like, you know, calling out to her essentially, and she's just actually projecting, studying this book.
It's totally like dark.
Yeah. Oh, it's bad. Yeah.
Okay, that is pretty cool. But I do have like some opinions on like her powers and stuff. So like, because the whole time that my husband and I were watching it, I was like, okay, she is rewriting, you know, as they said, she is rewriting reality. That is so like on like a molecular level, that is like godlike powers. It is so, she like, I can't even comprehend. It's like Cthulhu. It's like, can't even comprehend how powerful she is. I'm like, if they do this right, she is, and they don't nerf her, she can be OP as fuck. Like
already.
Yeah.
Already.
She's already more powerful.
She was gonna kill Thanos, okay? Unless he did his
Okay.
She's like, Thanos is coming back. Yeah, I believe it. I believe he would.
I wouldn't doubt it.
I wouldn't doubt it.
I would not doubt it.
Let's just say there were two things in the whole series that already told that she's like Omega class. She's like the top of the hill. They already said that she could have beat Thanos, and they pretty much said, yeah, she could have. She really
100%.
And they already said, I think it was Agatha or Agnes or whatever. Everybody's like character. She already said, you are this like this Anakin Skywalker story. You're the chosen one. You're the Scarlet Witch.
Yeah, you're
more
confirming
powerful.
she's a Nexus being. Like you're not even supposed to exist. You're a legend.
That, and it was quoted. It said something about, you are more powerful than the Sorcerer Supreme.
Mm-hmm.
So it's already established that she's the brilliance of her character though is because she doesn't know this. She has no self-awareness.
She's raw power.
She doesn't know how powerful.
Untapped raw power, and now she's gonna learn how to use her powers.
Yeah,
that's a problem.
Yeah,
that's a whole ass problem.
Yeah, Jerel, I totally agree with you. When Agnes was like, when she says like, you have no idea what you've done. You have no idea what you have unleashed. Like when someone who is established as like some sort of like antagonist, done some bad things, and is willing to do more bad things to get the knowledge that she wants, is even afraid of Wanda and her power, I was all like, oh, this is some serious shit. Okay, I'm ready.
Yeah, that witch scene, the witch scene where they were like trying to like kill her, that kind of creeped me out. I was like, out of left field. I didn't expect that. You know, we had the cheery sitcom stuff at the very beginning, and then it went all Buffy the Vampire Slayer. And I was just watching it, and it was like, you see the faces of these witches that are trying to take her power, and all of a sudden it's like reversed on them. And I ended up watching that part on my iPad versus the big screen, and it was just so dark. It was Zack Snyder dark on my iPad. I couldn't see all the details. I was like trying to make it bright, and I couldn't see anything. And I just saw people dying, and I was like, oh wow, I thought it was kind of neat how they took this character who was that nosy neighbor at the very beginning, and you didn't really know if she was pulling strings herself. You kind of like maybe assume certain things, and then she became this full-blown like witch that was trying to be like set up against Scarlet Witch, and I mean against so it really just, I thought it was good. It was great storytelling. I liked it.
I still don't know that she's like trying to set herself up against like Wanda. I think she was like genuinely just like, I want to siphon off your power, so I'm not against you. Get as powerful as you want, but I think Agnes can siphon off that power and get more powerful herself. And she wants to learn what triggered her powers. Like she wants to learn why she's so powerful.
Which takes us back to the whole mutant theory, because when she was going through Wanda's past in the previous episode, they were like, you already had powers, but how did you become more powerful? Which again leaves that mulligan that Marvel was doing this whole season about Mephisto, about all that. Which Jared. Mephisto will be possibly in Loki, and we're gonna have Jared on next week.
Mephisto was in Loki.
Yeah, they're talking about Mephisto maybe in Loki. That's the rumors. We know with possibly Doctor Strange. But yeah,
Mephisto's everywhere.
Yeah, Mephisto's everywhere.
That's fair, but it seems like such a random place to put him, if that like makes any sense.
But going back to it, again, when they showed how Agnes siphoned off the other witches in the coven, their powers, I think she was just doing that so she can become more powerful herself, and she didn't realize who she was up against. Yeah, Mephisto was the rabbit. It was the right rabbit. We were following that down the rabbit hole, and then we got smacked upside the head like, no, it ain't Mephisto. Not yet.
Yeah.
There's the theory that was from left field that I think he may have pulled the rabbit out of the hat right with that theory. Yeah, so.
Possibly.
Well, you guys said what could have triggered her powers. Well, yeah, mutants. If we're going with the mutant route, then yeah, she would have been born with it. Obviously, because yeah, you guys are right in that in the flashbacks it did show her, using a form of it. It just wasn't super powerful until until the mind, until she, encountered the Mind Stone. That's like really, really kind of flourished, and by then she already experienced grief. So my personal hope is, just a casual viewer, is that she, instead of, because you guys mentioned the others who went through grief and trauma, they still have their person with them, they still have their anchor. I feel that it would be an interesting approach if her grief was her anchor, not in necessarily a bad way, but in a way that she could use it in a way that could, be for like a bigger picture sort of thing.
That'd be really interesting.
What if grief was Mephisto or Nightmare or something like that? Let's personify this grief and give it a character name. I don't know. Yeah, that's a good theory. I kind of like it.
So I want to touch up on some comments. She will be needed to fight the creation of the next great villain. Remember the second Guardians of the Galaxy, the end credits introduced the next great villain. I think we got also too.
Are we talking about Adam Warlock?
Adam Warlock.
We possibly have Adam Warlock coming by, which will also bring Magnus, because Magnus was split from Adam Warlock, which is again a whole nother thing to go into. And don't forget, we have someone casted as what's his face, Kang the Conqueror. Jared points out before the revamp of Marvel 4 years back, they actually had the Witch and Quicksilver were even mutants. They were children of the High Evolutionary. I think Marvel had done that because of the whole Fox craze, but I think Marvel's ready to retcon that since now everything is back under, which again, like, we're going to see them as mutants. And I want to touch up on this. We need Jimmy Woo and Darcy to have their own show. How would everyone feel if they got that?
Disney Plus show.
It's a great show.
It's the perfect Disney Plus show. It sells itself. There's no.
That show. I'll take them over Armor Wars. Like, I don't think I needed Armor Wars. I don't need to know what's going on with Tony Stark's suits. I think Don Cheadle's like, I just want to do a show, and they were like, all right, cool, do this. I'm like, I don't really need that. I'd rather take Jimmy Woo and Darcy, like X-Files of the MCU. That's what I want.
I agree. They could do all those smaller stories that need telling in the MCU that don't need to have their own series. They could talk about Squirrel Girl for all I care. That could be they could have an episode on that.
Or they go find the Defenders, like they bring in all the fucking Netflix people.
Yes, please. Oh, that would make me so fucking happy.
And I totally agree with you, Jared. Trust me. Again, at the time Marvel was going through some fun stuff. I mean, I want you guys to give me a pitch of a Jimmy Woo and Darcy show. Like, what do you want to see? Who you want to see pop up in it? I know you did, but I'm going to Jerel and Alethea. Come on, we are all for it. Yeah, we want that Midnight Sun storyline. We do. It's coming.
Jimmy Woo is best boy. I loved his vibe. I thought he was so great.
100%. Yeah. So when someone argued, like in a bunch of comments where they're like, make it like the Marvel version of X-Files, and I was like, yes, do it, make that happen. Like, go around trying to explain on questionable phenomena, and that's another way you could introduce like some of the X-Men of just like, oh, this person has abilities that this and third, and you just go like, oh, go find like the person of the week.
Exactly.
Yep. I'm here for it. I am 100% here for it.
Yep.
Oh, we got some questions. It
can be to some degree like what they did, what they tried to do with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Miss Elgato, what is up? So she asked that question, which is actually interesting because I don't think they did touch this up. Did they ever
the witness protection?
No.
So people were thinking. Some people were thinking it was Ralph, right? So Pietro. Right, because he was missing, because they didn't have him up, and we find out at the end of the show that he is a citizen of Westview, and I think it's between him and Dottie, or the only two that people are wondering who the informant is. I hope it's like kind of just a red herring that they decided to not worry about, and they'll do it later, and not just not a coffee cup under the table, not that type of sort of thing.
Maybe we'll get that in the Jimmy Woo Darcy spinoff.
Maybe that's it.
But yeah, no, that's a good point. That's something that I think it glossed over. A lot of people said we didn't see that. And David needs to go to bed. Yes, when I first saw Agatha, good night, David.
Hey, what do you guys think of the that part where Captain Rambo was like talking when she got her super like space tank vehicle, and she goes and she had her whole like I know a guy moment, and she goes I know an aerospace astrophysicist. Did you guys? I mean, you probably might have talked about it. I've watched the show for the longest time because I hadn't caught up. So was that discussed? Did you guys figure out?
Yeah, so we that was another one of the theories that got like kind of just thrown to the wayside. Yeah,
it was a tease.
It's a plug for possibly Reed Richards. It was
100%.
Drop a hint.
Listen,
100%.
I have a theory for everyone here.
Oh God.
Marvel purposely put a lot of mulligans in this series, a lot of stuff to engage how people would be like, I want this. This
you
is
have
what
to
I
understand what they did. You got to understand the Marvel, like what Marvel has been conditioning us to do for the last 20 years.
It's crack, movie crack. That's
so think about it this way. First of all, we are preconditioned, no matter if it's a Marvel movie or not, to stay after the credits, right or wrong.
Yeah.
And
I
then
did it for the first two.
Right. And then with every other like with every other, thing that they do, you're always watching out for the Easter eggs, the tie-ins, the theories, the this, and this, and they gave you none of it at the beginning. Then they give you so many that we're all to the comment section. We're talking about it on the show now, and for the past few weeks, and half of them don't even matter. I cannot even be mad at it. It's so good. It's so because they're like, you don't need all this. You just need this.
Yeah. They were doing the Flash and Black Lightning, where they were going around and finding new metahumans with powers and helping them to become superheroes. I think I would love that for the Jimmy Woo show and Darcy. I would love that.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to ask you guys, how did you also feel about this show being an origin story for Monica Rambeau? We saw her get her powers. We see her do the superhero landing. Yes, you guys can laugh at me. Go right ahead. I don't give.
We love you. We love you
so much. And then at the end, we get the setup for Captain Marvel 2, when she's like, "Oh, we're going up there when we meet the Skrull." Alethea, how did you feel about this revelation and this origin story?
So I don't really know who Monica is in terms of the whole Marvel canon, but like when I was first watching it, and Darcy mentioned it's changing you on a molecular level, all this other stuff, I was catching on to that, and then when she started exposing her powers, I was all like, well, is this only in terms of the reality that Wanda has created and then once Wanda disperses her little corner of the world, will her powers eventually ebb and go away? But it didn't seem like that at the end. So I thought it was kind of cool. I don't know what her powers are or anything like that, but I was just like, I like Monica. Let's make her a superhero. I'm down for it. Hi, Tyler.
Before we touch up on Jerel, yes, I would love to see Jimmy Woo with his gorilla. Yes, that will also be dope too. But Jerel, how did you feel about this being like a little origin story?
I enjoyed it because I didn't feel like it was forced because we introduced her over a few episodes, and it was a nice build, and I didn't feel like I was forced like with Captain Marvel the movie. I was forced to feel like I needed to like it, and it didn't even feel like it needed to be told. If it wasn't between Infinity War and Endgame, I don't think I even really would have cared too much about it. But I think that what was interesting to me, did you guys notice her expression when they mentioned Captain Marvel? She almost looked like she had a little bit of disgust, and that she was that bright-eyed, innocent, Carol Danvers can do no wrong. I taught her how she could change the color of her costume moment. It was just like, I just thought that was a little odd. And, maybe there's going to be some.
Well, someone put a video where they did a discussion like why that could be. And essentially, it's her feeling upset because I think it was Infinity War or probably the beginning of Endgame, they talked about, or actually it was in Endgame, the beginning, where they were like, where have you been for all these years?
Yes. And I got that. I think it's also she's dealing with the trauma of her mother going through cancer. And I think that, you know, she was like saying, this is my mom's best friend, the person that I looked up to. And, you know, as a little girl, she's going to probably feel, well, just as, you know, young kids, we're going to feel a little like slighted if her best friend is, you know, if she's not out saving literally the galaxy, she can't come back down to like be there for her best friend when she's going through cancer. And I think maybe that's probably what they're going to lead up to. And I would love, that's the cool thing. When she gets introduced and she has her powers, there's going to be a moment where she's going to probably, you know, meet Captain Marvel, and there's going to be like, you know, crosses to bear and like things that need to be aired out, and, you know, just going to be a lot of that's what makes for a good story. You know, there's going to be some nice tension there.
The guys in Comics Cast are synced. So Joe Tolliver, the other half of Comics Cast, is because she never came back to see her mother before she died. It shows some resentment. You guys are in sync with this, man.
Joe and I are one. Comics Cast, we have a hive mind. And that's what it's like the nerd.
We're nothing like no. You're giving us way too much credit.
No, we're more of a spice of chaos.
we're the sound of one hand clapping. That's
yeah,
it.
you guys you got your own chaos magic going on here at the nerds. Yeah.
So we got to give it up to Jared Brown, who again, a comic book artist, creator. You're gonna see him next week talking about his book on our show. All we want is Starjammers. Yes, we want the Starjammers on. Jared, share that link in there so we can actually share it with people with where we can get your comic, brother. So share that link in the chat. But no, man, I wasn't trying to be a fanboying out this whole season, but it was tough with WandaVision, the first 2 episodes, because you wanted to see what was going on, and then when they explained it, the way how they did this story, I thought was the best writing I've seen, and it showcased that not every superhero needs a movie. It showcased that we can build characters through a slow burn, and I mean, I was having this conversation with Tony the other day because I finally saw the Harley Quinn movie. I felt that could have been a show. I didn't think it could have been a movie. I love the cast.
Yeah.
It's just one of those things that, you know, with WandaVision, I'm glad they didn't make this a movie. Wanda is not a side character, but she is a character that needed some level. Yeah. I don't think a movie would have done the character justice, and I don't think a movie would have told her story and for people to understand who she was. Because when you see the movies, there's a lot of wheels moving on. There's a lot of engine. There's a lot of stuff just moving around and everything. And I think this just, you know, it gave more layer to this character where people are like, oh, I love this character now. This character is just more than someone just tossing stuff with her hands and all that. She has layers. She, like Shrek said, she's an onion. You got to peel back the layers.
Yeah. We were actually making that joke the whole time. Like, she's an ogre. She's got layers.
The Spice Girls, we will claim the Spice Girls. The Spice Girls were awesome. I had both their albums in high school. But seeing WandaVision, how do you guys feel about the future of the MCU shows, storytelling for superheroes, taking these stories and putting them in different genres? What do you guys want to see more of? Alethea, we'll start with you. We'll go with Jerel, we'll go around the room.
So I'm always for like stories that are not told as much as, like, you know, the others and stuff. So for like characters that, you know, characters like Wanda or characters like Monica, you know, from what I know and from what I see, they don't really get a lot of screen time. They don't really get a lot of, you know, they don't really have a huge like fandom behind them. So like having characters like these get a little bit more, you know, of a spotlight, I'm totally down for. And like whether they're superheroes or just ordinary people like, you know, Jimmy Woo and Darcy, I'm like totally down for them getting more expanded and having, you know, more of a story to tell, and, you know, just those different perspectives, because that can be when you can get things real interesting. You can either go through like super dark, or, you know, the super fluffy happy fun times, you know, arcs, whatever. So yeah, I'm excited for whatever is going to come. I'm definitely more invested, at least in terms of where Wanda is going. I'm interested to see what season 2 is going to be like, and if any of these characters are going to have their own spin-offs or something. So
before we get Jerel, Joe, again, She had been a background character for multiple movies. Yes, this helped boost her character as she became lead role.
Yep.
Yes, again. And Jared points this out too. The shows definitely helped flesh them out. Daredevil was a good example of that. Daredevil was a really great example of that too on Netflix. And Dave, I'll get into your question last. Taylor goes, if they don't shove it in your face at 1,000 miles an hour and slow it down a bit, yeah, because sometimes you can oversaturate if it's the same formula.
Mhm.
And we will get more Mandalorian episodes. And Joe goes, Thor as a comedy works, but I hated that they did it with the third movie because it dealt with the loss of his entire people, not the right time for me. I can understand that because it was I think Thor 3 set up the mood for what we were going to see with Thanos because it was so lighthearted, and then their ship got captured by Thanos, and then you saw what was going on because it was just very lighthearted. Thanos comes in and fucks it up.
Well, the thing with Thor 3, just really quick, it just feels like they decided to do a polar opposite, right? Because Chris Hemsworth's comedy is comedic timing, just very natural. It works so well as the character of Thor. And we got it little by little in the original movies. Like the first movie we got when he throws the fucking coffee mug down, I'll have another. Like that's classic. That is classic for the first Thor movie. And then Thor 2, Dark World, it's supposed to be super dark. He loses his mom. And it just didn't. It fell flat. And I think what they did is that they let Chris do his thing, but they also had to tie in how this is going to connect to Infinity War. So I do agree, Joe, that it was very lighthearted in the topic, but also him losing his people. But but it gave Chris the ability just to run with the character of Thor. That I think when they let him do it, he's fucking amazing. That we didn't see in 1 and 2.
I think this felt the most like Thor, in that movie.
Yeah.
But Jerel, I want to get to what are you excited about with this next wave of Marvel shows? How did you feel it's helped the characters? Let's go on ahead. Let it go away, brother. Go on.
Yeah, well, I was a little worried. I was thinking, what can they do to top Endgame? And then they had that Disney shareholder thing, and I was blown away. And I think that what I'm definitely excited in the sense that Marvel is not subscribing to just one formula. If anything, it's they can they can put their hands in many different things. They can make an Ant-Man. They can make a Thor Ragnarok, and then they can be really serious. And they can do the Guardians of the Galaxy, and then they can do the Winter Soldier, which is still that's to me that's bar none probably the best Marvel MCU ever. But that's the thing is I'm still a little some of my fears were alleviated or were put to rest when I saw what they're planning to do, because there's enough storytelling that they can really do a lot of
They're
things.
not always on the same page. Oh no! Oh no!
You and I are gonna have some words here. We're gonna have some words. What we're gonna say is that I think the biggest gamble with the Eternals, I think that's gonna be that's what Guardians of the Galaxy was for me. I was like, how are they gonna do Guardians of the Galaxy? Because they had I read the comic book, and then when I saw who they cast and what they were doing, it's that is not Guardians of the Galaxy. And it was by far, that's where they were able to show a really comedic tone on a cosmic level. And that just goes to show. And then now they have these TV series that they're doing, what they did with Netflix, what they're doing with WandaVision, what they're going to do with, I'm just going to say that Falcon and the Winter Soldier is just going to rock. It's just going to be awesome.
Oh yeah.
But I'm just saying that I have faith in them. I think they're going to do some really things, as long as they don't get so caught up on just I want my superhero movies to be superhero movies, or what I mean by is that I want them to be for the fans. I don't want politics thrown in there. I don't want other just stuff that would take away from it. I just want it to enjoy it. I want it to be something that is that makes me feel good about a larger story, and it's pure escapism. I think Marvel, if they stick to that, then I think they can do no wrong. I'll bow down to Kevin Feige, just let him do his thing. And what they did with Mandalorian, what I heard he's going to be moving into the Star Wars franchise too. It's I go for it. But I thought.
I want to touch up on this link real quick, guys. Check out that link after the show. It's from Jared Brown, Advent Dark. Check out the comic and the Kickstarter. But yeah, going into we got some good comics. Jerel is I'm so down for new FF and how now this wave with Army show up. I am definitely down with that. Joe, rocking in space was the worst thing about Guardians. Rocky screaming Thanos. Yes. A lot of people love Cara Dune. She was awesome. It says, we're going to see what happens to that. There's rumors of them talking. We want more Mandalorian episodes. And again, I'm going to go with Dave's comment at the end. Tony, Law, what are your feelings for these next wave of Marvel shows? What do you guys want to see more of?
Well, so I after watching WandaVision, seeing what they do, it's like, who wants to follow that, right? Like, because
that's a great opening act,
right? Like, because originally we were supposed to get Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and I don't think, and I hope I'm wrong, but I don't think Falcon and the Winter Soldier is going to be as intellectually challenging as WandaVision, right? It's gonna like, there's a meme if it's like, it's 6 episodes of the two of them staring at each other. Like, that's what it's going to be. It's going to be like a buddy cop type of thing. It's going to be action packed, and I'm here 100% here for it, right? But just like, they opened up with WandaVision, and now we're getting back into this action packed sort of MCU, what we're used to, where this was so much different. I think they're going to set another bar when they do Loki, because Loki's always been an intellectual type of character, and bringing in the whole time police type of thing. I think that's going to be like top notch. And to your point, Jerel, I want these shows. I hope we don't become super oversaturated with the shows. I think Disney Plus and using the platform to further along the stories that we can tell in the theaters is 100%. But I hope we don't become super oversaturated. And I want the overarching weaving storylines to get to that next climactic event that we're going to see in the next 10 years, right? And like kind of seeing where those seeds are being thrown in, because we know Fantastic Four is eventually coming in. X-Men are coming in. Potentially, people are saying the next big bad will be Annihilus. Like, how are we getting all of these points in and seeing how they do it? But I'm here for it. I'm excited. The investors thing gave us like 5 more shows, 10 more shows that we had no idea were in production. And I think D23, and if they do a digital Hall H, for Comic-Con, we'll hear some new stuff. But I'm super excited. If I can have one thing, we can have a little bit of Mahershala Ali in Multiverse of Madness, because I hope we get some vampires.
I'm here for it.
Yeah.
Says there's a video going around saying Omega Red will be in the Falcon Winter Soldier. Yes, I saw that going around. WandaVision was intellectual challenge. I don't know. That shit was obvious for me. That was obvious. Yeah, this is gonna be fun when we finally get Dro on, man. He goes, that would be awesome. He goes, I know. I know I'm a hater.
It's all good.
Love you, Dro.
We're doing something if we got a hater, right? We're doing something, right?
Lando, Luckman,
and Lake. Yeah, that was in the comics. They're like
gotcha.
Yeah.
Come on, Seabass, you got to keep these comments up so we can read them.
Bro, they're going tonight. Everybody wants to fast. But Law, go ahead. What do you want? What do you want in the future?
I'm with Tone. Like, as long as they keep going at the pace that they're going and with the plan that they have, I'm here for it. I think it's going to be a different tone when we go from WandaVision to Cap and Winter Soldier, or Falcon and Winter Soldier. But I do think that story sets up in a way that like Civil War and to some degree Winter Soldier did versus like Guardians. So I think we have like that Doctor Strange cosmic, like, kind of, sense in Wanda, where now we're going back to like real world stuff, and seeing how like Baron Zemo comes back, seeing how people deal with a new Cap essentially, and all these other issues that we're gonna have that are gonna probably tie into a lot of the stuff, because you gotta remember, like, we have things on a great big grand scale, but there's still the people on Earth who deal with everyday things and very on a common, based thing. So we have shields, we have all these like secret government agencies and SWORD and whatnot. And on the ground level, they have to take care of that. So I'm here for those stories. I'm here to see like, like kind of like what they did with the Netflix series, where like you have all these big things happening left and right. But what's happening like to the people who are still here, not fighting in the sky and not fighting, the big bads, on the cosmos. So
it's a street level. They're keeping it. They have street.
Yeah.
Level.
Yep. And level, cosmos, mid level.
I'm here for it. It's gonna introduce a lot. You're gonna see a lot of different tones and themes, but I'm 100% here for it, because I think that their like buddy cop, like frenemies, like relationship on and off camera is amazing. So we can get more of that there, and I think it's going to also set up some of the stuff what happened in Wakanda, because we did hear them say White Wolf, and I just want them to like get some degree with that for Winter Soldier, because I don't think he's going to keep the Winter Soldier name.
But David, just to answer your question, yes, announced at the beginning, we will be talking about Justice League, and we will be talking about Winter Soldier. And Jerel is already reserved coming back in the season finale, which we're gonna have Jerel, you're gonna set that up with Joe. Joe, you're in the comments. You're coming back with that. But I want to go back to
HBO shows.
That yes, I am all here because Omega Red, if he pops up in the show, that would be dope. I don't know if that's gonna put. I would be for that. And Dave goes like, love. He goes areas that will be so dope, especially feature Wolverine in the story. Yeah. I mean, I don't think we're gonna get that yet. And I'll be watching it with an eye patch because no Disney Plus for me. Pirate Bay.
Oh man. But again, they don't need to bring in a casted character. They can literally just have a name or a side profile or a file show up on a desk.
I mean, Omega Red showing up, because you don't really need like a person, cast for that. Having him as a villain would be good, but I doubt we'll get an X-Men, a Wolverine thing. But if we get a name drop like Strucker, that'd be cool.
Yeah,
like 100%.
We're at that time of the day of the show, guys. I want everyone to plug away. So first, we're going to start with Alethea because she is returning guest on the show. It's been a while. Alethea, I want you to plug away everything that you are working on. Go right ahead. We want to thank you for coming on.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me on, guys. It was great seeing all your lovely faces.
We missed you.
I missed you guys too. So I'm currently working on a bunch of different comics. My primary comic that I work on is with my co-creator, Jackson Jobert. It's called Bad Luck. And it's a horror comedy style comic published by Inbion. You can find it at inbion.com/badluck, or you can check out our social media handles, Facebook and Instagram, Bad Luck Comic, Twitter, Bad Luck Comic. So, yeah.
All right. Go ahead. Plug away, brother. Plug away Comic Cast. Sell it all. Sell everything, bro. Tell us what you guys are doing. You guys are doing some awesome stuff there, bro.
Yeah, we're trying to still trying to get it done in 2021. We're planning to debut a mentor type show. We haven't figured out a cool name for it, but it's pretty much going to be like getting some really talented pros to pairing them up with students that are really promising. It's going to be a more produced show. It's not going to be live, but we're going to do that. And we also have another top secret show that I can't really announce just yet, but we have two shows that we're going to probably debut in the next couple of months. Of course, we always had our idea about trying to unify the whole indie community and like trying to come up with a way to get all these creator comics, together. And these creators, I'm highlighting them, trying to highlight them on Let It Out every Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I just we just got lots of stuff going on. Through meeting, doing Comics Cast, I met all of you guys, and I'm just so thrilled to see the indie comic scene, the indie creator scene is just hot. That's where it's at. That's where everybody should be. That's where everybody should be reading. And we're talking about all this stuff, and it's never been such a pleasure to just totally geek out and see what everybody's doing and just be excited. Because I think some of that flame kind of got a little diminished when we were just used to the status quo. And I think that these shows, we're breaking it down. We're bringing it back to where fans can really start voicing what they're interested in and being able to have that fun love that we've been missing for a long time. So thank you for having me on the show. Check out Comics Cast on Facebook, Indie Comics Cast on YouTube, and we will see you. Thank you.
And just to touch up on some things, I think Joe said it's mentor block. Mm-hmm. And I think they're going to bring in Simon Williams. Jared, I didn't miss that. Sorry. But I am excited to announce this. And Jared, like you said, we've been looking at indie comics. I'm excited to say that me and you are actually getting to work on the story in the anthology for Comic Book School for their next one, which again, the amazing work that Jerel does. Make sure you check him out at Comics Cast, him, Joe. Make sure you check out Jerel's artwork that he posted in their art group, because Jerel is just sick with the pencils when he draws them down and he inks and he fleshes them out. It's just freaking awesome, bro. It's like, I'm like, dude, I'm such a fan of your work, bro.
You give me way too much credit. Way too much.
Best hype man right there.
Seriously, your artwork's gorgeous, Jerel.
Thank you. Way too much credit. But yeah, thank you.
But you guys can check them out. The links are there for Comics Cast. The links are there for Bad Luck. Check out the stuff. Althea's done some awesome stuff with Bad Luck. The story is just awesome. Her and Jackson putting together
So
that book.
good.
And so again, guys, this has been your boy Sebastian.
It's your boy Law.
And your boy Tone from across the hall.
Everybody
Peace out,
have a good
everybody.
night. Peace.